It's just been like consistent, like 10K above months.
Downloaded it, I checked the date, July of 2021, and then I left my job in September of 2021.
Since then, I've sold websites, I've pivoted my business, I'm no longer doing social media management.
What has been like your highest month?
13K.
It has literally changed my life.
When you were designing on WordPress, were you charging way less? Like, what is that like?
Yeah, way less. I think my first WordPress was like $500.
$500 for a WordPress site versus like up to $5,000 for a show it site.
Welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited for this episode because we are interviewing Claire Palmer, which I feel like has been a long time coming. I cannot wait to sit down and chat and just learn more about your journey. I feel like you're going to be so inspirational for so many because, and obviously we'll get more into this, but from what I remember, you were bartending before and now you are no longer bartending. And so we have not brought someone on who has been in the service industry and pivoted into being web design. And I'm really excited because Willow and I specifically did that ourselves.
Way back in
Yeah, so we definitely have a lot to talk about. But Claire, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel like we are kindred spirits, if you will, coming from the service industry. There's really a very specific type of person that comes from that. So,
yeah,
it's been good.
Definitely. So fill us in. Who are you? And let's say, like, where do you live? I actually don't even know where you live. So give us the deets on you.
So my name is Claire, like you said. I'm a brand and web designer. I was in the service industry for a long time. That's how I put myself through college. But I live in Traverse City, Michigan, which, if we're looking at the hand, is way up here. And it's, and it's a gorgeous place. I love it. I grew up here and I moved back here and it is just the most pristine, beautiful place to live. I know you guys live in really beautiful places as well, so you get it. But yeah, I'm a brand and web designer. I started my business almost officially a year ago. I think it's like November 13th. Okay. But yeah, I found your courses. I pivoted from the service industry, took part of my college degree, and then started my business. And it's been a journey ever since, and it's been awesome. And I wouldn't change any part of it. It's been great.
Oh my God.
Well, that's awesome.
Wow. So you were working as a bartender. What sparked you to even because you found me on TikTok, what video was it that got your mind spinning and you were like, okay, I'm done with this? Like, what even led you to that feeling that you were going to completely abandon ship of what you were doing?
So I did come from bartending. So being a bartender and being in the service industry, as you know, you really just, ultimately, I think it comes down to making people happy and giving them something that they love. Mine happened to be cocktails. Like I worked at a cocktail bar. I love giving people what they want, and I am very good at it in that regard. And so then I just kind of wanted to continue helping people. I knew I wanted to give people something that they needed, but I knew I needed to pivot into something maybe a little bit more substantial if I'm going to, graduate college, start a whole business, everything. I've always been kind of entrepreneurial ever since I was like a tiny human. So yeah, I saw I can't remember exactly what video I saw, but I saw a video, I saw something of yours, might even been like one of your very early Instagram things or something. Anyway, but I found it and I was like, hey, instead of serving cocktails, I could design brands and websites and still give the service experience that I love, but help someone in a different way. And so then I started doing that. And I have a degree in professional writing. Actually, my degree is in professional writing from MSU, which had a lot of like UX design classes, so user experience. And then obviously there's a lot of grammar and writing and literature in there as well, which kind of helps my story build when I'm building brands. But yeah, I just found it and then I was like, hey, if someone else can do this, I can do this. Like I know what I'm doing, sort of, not really. Does anyone? But I invested in your course and I was like, here we go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that.
I feel like it is such a unique perspective to kind of come from being in the service industry to then becoming a service provider, because there actually are some similarities, like in that the client or customer, however we want to talk about them, they kind of always come first, and that there's always like trying to deliver that experience to them, even beyond whatever you're actually delivering.
Yes.
And I'm curious, with you going that similar path, what do you feel like has like kind of stayed with you from the service industry to now being a service provider in a completely new industry?
Probably the communication of understanding how to talk to people. I mean, my entire I'm like I said, I put myself through college doing this. So I worked in the service industry prior to doing this for, 10 years. And from when I was 16 and I'm 26 now. So just about 10 years. And when you have tables, like you have clients, basically, you have to master the art of communication and understand what they're saying and understand how you can deliver something to them that they want. And then if someone's not happy, understand how to navigate something, even if it's not something that you did. I mean, if the kitchen messes up, it's not my fault, but I have to understand how to communicate that. And the same as if, on the front lines of designing, like if something were to happen, I have to be able to communicate and just ultimately get people what they want, because their brand and their business is the most important thing to them. So I want to make sure I take care of it. So
100%.
I love that. I'm also curious though, because I feel like one thing that you said was that it's similar, that the customer always comes first. When you become a service provider, it's actually really important to learn how to actually put yourself first in a lot of situations and learn how to set boundaries. And I, at least in my experience working in the service industry, had very little room to set boundaries. And, and always it's like the customers come first. And I feel like, have you had to relearn that at all, becoming a service provider, like setting boundaries and making sure that you understand that you're building this business for you ultimately? And so, you can deliver something amazing, but you need to make sure that it's also on your terms and it's not just this like entitled, like customer always comes first mentality.
Yes, so much. I mean, like I literally worked myself to the bone, I guess is the saying. And I worked myself to death trying to just pick up as many shifts as you possibly can, do everything. And then I started my business and I was like, oh my goodness, I started this so I didn't have to do that. What am I doing? I need to learn how to set boundaries. And it took me so long. I mean, I'm still not perfect at it. I would never say that I'm perfect at anything, but especially not that. But yeah, learning how to set working hours, how to understand that, yes, I'm dealing with people who, and my clients are the most important thing to me, but I am also the most important thing to me. And my family is. I have nephews now, I have nieces, I'm like freakishly close with my family and my sisters. So I worked myself so much in my younger 20s. And then I was like, hey, why don't we start a business so that I can set my own hours? And yes, you have to work so hard when you start being an entrepreneur. I'm not going to say that lightly or anything, but still I have the opportunity to go visit my family when I can, take it Thursday off and go boating down the river like I did this year because I had time and I could organize it. But yeah, setting boundaries has been a huge challenge, definitely.
Yeah. It's like learning how to work smarter, not harder when you're a business owner, because you do have the freedom. And I think maybe, did that ever feel overwhelming at all, where everything now was on your own terms? Were you ever like, holy shit?
Yeah, I don't even know if I could express how many times I've said those words, like literally all the time. No, it's a lot, because, you start a business and you're like, oh my God. And then you leave your job. I left the service industry, which in Traverse City, we're a tourist town. So it's a really good town to be in the service industry. And I love the community. It's so cool. Anyway, but you start your own business and you're like, oh my gosh, everything's on my shoulders. I have to make sure I do all this. It can be very overwhelming. But then joining a group that has, like other people who are just like you, and like doing the courses that you guys had, and then the Slack program or the Slack messaging, and then meeting designers and becoming friends with other people, and then understanding and growing your community, which you guys say all the time, like community over competition, which I love, because I completely agree. I mean, there's so many humans in this world that, like, we're all just trying to do the best we can. We're on a floating rock.
I know.
I'm curious.
I love the floating rock thing. I feel like I always have to come back and remind myself that, because sometimes it's easy to be fueled by ego. That's just like our natural state that we all live in. And it's good to check yourself and be like, okay, yo, ego, like you're nothing. Like you are literally a tiny little person on a floating rock. Like you're jack shit. So like get that ego out of there.
Yeah, literally nothing matters. Like
Yeah.
that's what my brain goes towards is, which I mean, people could look at that and think that it's negative, which it's not, especially like not from me. Nothing matters means you can literally do anything that you want, like anything. And I understand, I recognize that people come from different places. I'm very privileged with a lot of the things that I come from. I have a great support system and yada, yada, but still, you can still do it, you know?
Yeah, you can create it if you want it.
Yeah.
I'm curious now that you've talked about how creating all the boundaries can be challenging. There's like lots of new things. I'm curious, what does your life look like now that you have completely pivoted careers? You have a business, you're running a business, you have clients, like all of this new stuff. What does life look like?
I mean, it's not exciting. I wish I had more exciting things to do, but it's not. I mean, it's exciting to me. I love my life. But no, I always say I get to be on the other side of the bar now. So I'm on the other side of the bar where I get to experience and go see my friends and take care of my friends, do all that in a different regard. And then I also, have the opportunity to spend the time with my family that I want to, and spend the time doing the things that I want to do, and with my human, my partner Ian, which I call my human. But
I love that.
it's one of my sayings, but with my human Ian, and we get to spend time together, because when you're in the service industry, you don't get to do that. Your nights are taken up, your weekends are taken up, all of that. So I have the opportunity to, grow my relationship with him and do everything that I want to do. I don't know, there are days where I work like 14 hours, of course, because, you do when you're an entrepreneur, but then there are also days where I'm like, I need to chill. And then I take a break and
definitely.
and I get to interact with cool people, and my clients are so cool. There's so many businesses up. I don't know. It's cool. I could go on. Sorry.
I love that. So what is your day, like what does a day in the life look like though of a work heavy day when you're in your business?
Work heavy. I wake up really early, go to the gym, work out. I pretty much always start my days that way. Drink coffee, sit down, go through. I do like the time block stuff, where you set up whatever. I know you guys do that, and I've seen that. But yeah, time block stuff out, do client work, and then I usually finish off with my own work because I work on my own stuff better when it's a little bit later. And then just spend all day working on that. Again, I wish I had a more exciting way to describe that, but it's pretty much just me staring at my laptop. But
I feel like it can be.
It is
I feel
exciting
like it can
though.
be so exciting in this glamorized way of like kind of going and doing all these crazy things. But I think that in our online space also, another part of it is just like you were mentioning, of having the freedom to relax, or have the freedom to just like be with your significant other or family members, or have the freedom to say, hey, this morning I actually am not going to work. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to work tonight or something like that. I think that,
or even the freedom to be like, yo, I'm really tired. I'm going to sit on my couch and watch TV while I work. Like you have that freedom to do so.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I mean, setting up your optimal work environment is a really huge perk. I mean, of owning your own business, my optimal work environment is listening to a specific type of music, sitting at my desk or standing or whatever, in my room instead. But, other people perhaps who are in a 9-to-5 or something like that are forced to be in a non-optimal work environment, which obviously works for some people. But when you're an entrepreneur and you can work from home, I mean, you have the beauty to, like you said, like watch whatever you're watching or listen or podcast or anything. So
I love it. So when you fill me in on like maybe the first 3 or 6 months of launching your business, you said you launched in November. What did it look like in like a timeline from launching?
So I launched in November. I was very lucky to actually have a client that I pulled from the bartending industry. So I met these gentlemen who own a brewery in Pennsylvania, Vortex Brewing. They're not quite open, they will be. But I launched their website, and they were the first client that I went into it with. I was like, okay, I'm done bartending. I'm going to start this business, whatever. And so then I had them, I picked up a couple other clients here and there. I set everything up. And then, the first 3 to 6 months was really heavy on client work, picking up as many as I could do before I kind of knew what my niche was, and then setting up systems so that I could successfully accomplish all the things that I need to be, and really just trying to like nail down how my brain works and how it work best for my business. So first 3 to 6 months, very heavy work, a lot.
A lot of foundation
and kind of just like
build.
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very normal. And I love that you mentioned that too, because I think some people will jump into this and not even just this specific field, but the online space and be like, oh, I saw this one video and I'm going to just launch. And by Friday, I'm going to be like booked out and everything will be already built for me. Where there's a lot of foundation building that needs to be in place and systems and even just mindset. Like you need to sit down and be like, what do I need to work through in order to be able to adjust to this new? Yeah. So I love that you mentioned that because it's really setting like that realistic standard for what it looks like becoming a business owner, because you're not just like overnight building success. I think we stand in that a lot. I am very transparent of the journey of the process because I think that it's so important that it's not over glamorized, and it's like, yes, it can lead you to this amazing life. You're so happy doing what you're doing and it brings so much joy and abundance, but it does require work. And that's just the realistic, like you're not cutting around that at all.
Correct. I mean, yeah, people will see one thing, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I have to get this for my office and I have to have this and I have to have all these things and it'll be fine. And people will ask me, they'll be like, well, how soon did you, like a really popular question is, how soon did you see success after launching your business or after investing in a course or whatever? And the answer I always give is that you get out of it exactly what you put into it, but it is so much work. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I love it. And it's also important to recognize like where I am now is not where I want to be. Like I have goals, obviously, but I also have to look back at Claire from 8 months ago. And I'm like, holy shit, like so much. I'm like, I am a different person. I've changed so much. And I have to recognize like how far I've really come. And like, whatever that looks like for you, if that's going and buying a new book at a bookstore, which I love doing, or if it's going out and getting a cocktail with a friend, or if it's going to the beach or whatever, celebrate in some way that celebrates yourself and recognizes it, but then still looks forward to the future. I don't know. I just like everyone, if I could just like gather everyone in a room and be like, you can do this, I promise, but it's going to be hard work. I would, but you can only say so much. So yeah.
I love that. Yeah. It's almost like taking your accomplishments in baby steps where yes, you have goals, but you can recognize where you've come and you've done so much, you've achieved so much. And you can look at that as like, oh, I'm not there yet. Like I need to just keep going and kind of be hard on yourself. Or it can be proof that what you've accomplished, it creates the possibility for you to then create the future. Like you need to be able to recognize the baby steps in order to have it be this like long.
And I feel like the foundational part of taking that first 3 to 6 months, feeling like you're all over the place, all of it, it put you at a place where now, even if you were to like, let's say you have a goal in the future, you want to completely pivot or completely do something new, that foundational period that you already built even makes this next time, if you have to do it again, way easier. I think that diving in head first, realizing, okay, I just created a business. Now there's like 150 things that need to be done. I think that it does get you to a place where now, do you feel like if you were to go after one of these like kind of next goals of yours, do you feel like the foundation that you already built, your website, your products, all of those systems, do you feel like some of them are transferable to make that process easier in the future?
Definitely. Even if it's just the building block of confidence, like the confidence that I was totally scared out of my mind the first time I launched a website. I was like, oh my God, I have no idea what's an @ symbol. What is a domain? Like I was like, oh my God. But like you gain when you're building those systems and you're building everything in your business, you're also gaining so much confidence, and you really just have to believe in yourself, which you guys share a lot on social media as well. Like sharing who you are, not just as a designer, but also as a human, and humanizing everything. Cause I feel like we've lost so much of that connection. But yeah, if I were to change or do something, I feel like I would have those, like an outline, kind of like a wireframe. Step into something, but
yeah, I love that. So as far as the business side goes, what are your offers? I'm curious, like what in your business you're offering right now, and then we'll kind of dive more into that.
So my most popular offer is custom design. So custom brand and web design. So brand identity as well as full built out website. And then I also offer branding intensives, which is a week, and that's a brand identity in an entire week, which is a full logo suite, typography, color palette, etc. But those are my two most popular right now. I'm shifting into some new ones, which I'm really excited about. But that's what I mostly do. I'd say custom design is my most popular one as well.
Yeah. And have you seen that grow and evolve just within yourself? Like you mentioned that you booked the brewery right when you left. Do you mind sharing how much you charged for that site?
I wish I remembered, but it's gotta be like under 3,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was
I can't
fully
remember
custom,
exactly
built
what it
out.
was. Yeah, fully custom, like 7 pages or something, all custom, whatever, everything picked for them, typography, licensing, color, pages, legal pages, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you mind me asking what you're charging now for your custom work?
Custom work starts at $5.55, depending on if there's a blog or a shop or something like that. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So
That's
that's
almost double.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good growth.
Yeah. And it's just, it's also dependent on how much time you put in systems and you implement systems to make your deliverables better for clients. So what I can deliver is far better than what I could deliver before, and growing and adapting that. So
Yeah. I'm curious how it feels when you book a client, because obviously it's exciting, just like, oh, I just booked a client and all that. But like when you get that transaction and like you get that yes, and you then go send that invoice and you sit back and you're like, damn, like this is what I've created. How does that make you feel in just your own self?
so good. So cool in like the aspect of yes, I'm succeeding in business like on paper, but then also that this human who I don't know, like who lives in Chicago, one of my clients right now, who found me on social media, has trusted me to do something with something that like I love my brand and my business so much, and other business owners trust me to take care of it and to do the best that I can with it. It makes me want to cry. I could happy cry all the time. I'm like one of those people though. It's yeah.
I love that. So do you have any advice, let's say specifically for service industry people for this interview? What would your advice be if someone is right now listening to this podcast and they're like, I am a host at a bar and I freaking hate my job and I really want to do something different. I'm really inspired by this. What would you tell them, or like their first like 3 to 5 steps?
I mean, besides all the legal jumbo, blah, 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 whatever, you already know how to talk to people. You already know how to talk with humans, and you know how to communicate. You know how to effectively be around other people. And I think that this is something that's kind of not lost, but is more rare, perhaps, is the communication aspect. So you already know how to do that. You've already got that. You can talk to people and you can make people happy. I mean, you do it in a different way now in the service industry, I would say to someone, but you can do it. And then just believing in yourself and then just doing it. Just do it. And it's really obnoxious because like that's what everyone says, like you just have to do it. But it's so true. Like once you get past the initial terrifying aspect of like, oh my God, I'm doing this, like you just got to go for it.
Yeah.
And you're going to fail, but you got to fail upwards. I don't know where I did that, but you got to fail upwards, like fail, but learn from the failure and grow from that. I mean, I failed.
Yeah.
I hope I don't do anything major in the future, but perhaps I will, like, so just.
I love that.
Yeah.
So obviously you invested into my course, and that's a part of your journey. Do you feel like that was crucial to do from the get-go? Because were you still a bartender when you invested into Wealthy Web Designer?
It was so close to the time that I think I might have been. I have a video of me buying your course, which I shared like semi
Yeah.
something. I don't know. It like I just like was like I should probably document this, and I recorded myself buying it. So I'd have to look at the timestamp, but it was so close to that, and it was I would invest in the first one you ever did, which was Wealthy Web Designer, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have like almost all of them now. So I was like, which one's first? But yeah, I did that, and I was like, and then once I did that too, once you invest in something, I mean, you're literally invested. So you have
Yeah.
to do, you feel like you have to do it. And you know, and I did. I was like, well, if I'm gonna invest in this and it's worth it because it is, then why not go for it? Nothing matters.
Yeah. So it's almost like you're investing into, yes, the education, like it will teach you, but it also is just the push that you might need in the beginning to make sure that you follow through. It's like almost that accountability
And
for
if you
yourself.
take yourself seriously.
Yeah.
Take the information seriously.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm investing in something which has helped me so much, I mean, your courses, as we know, are phenomenal. And then also giving you the push, like, you know, if you invest in a college course, you're not going to fail it, hopefully, if you pay for your own college, like I did.
Yeah.
Like, but you know, if you invest in a web design education or whatever education we're talking about, like, you don't want to mess up because you've got a stake in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So as far as people hanging out with you in the online space, where can people find you?
So I do most of my communication and posting and all the things on Instagram, which is Juniper Folk Designs. And it's Juniper Folk Designs on everything, actually. So website,
Okay.
juniperfolkdesigns.com, Instagram and TikTok. I need to be better at TikTok like you guys are, and I just try. It's just not my preferred platform. But yeah, mostly on Instagram, and yeah, ask away, anything, always. And if I can help anyone, I will.
I love that. Well, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your journey. It's definitely going to inspire so many people. It's inspiring to me. So I am so grateful for you and your time today. And I will, for everyone listening, I'll have all of her info linked down below as well. So you can go check it out. But
Thank you. Thank you guys
Yeah,
so much
thank
too for this opportunity to come on and talk and everything. It's really cool. I mean, web designers are really cool people. So
They typically are.
facts.
Cool. Well, thanks
All right.
again, and we will see you on Instagram.
awesome. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.
Hold up and don't stop.